105K BTC. So relatively quiet weekend considering that is where we were on Friday. But what is on everyone's lips this weekend is, are we still going to have an alt season as we know it? What is that going to look like? So I'm talking about that today. Then I'm also talking about something called DeepSeek that you may have heard about. That could affect a couple of AI things. And obviously, guys, it's Sunday. We're teeing up the week. I've got some absolute banger setups for you for this week. So we got so much to talk about here. Let's get right into it. And two things. Remember, as always, you hit that like, you hit the bell, you hit the subscribe, and you can always find me on Banter Plus, Monday to Friday, about 2 hours before this time. I am there daily for you guys doing this type of content, including absolute degen plays and some higher time frame setups for you guys. So let's take a look what is going on this weekend. The action is 𝗬𝗢𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪, that's 𝗫𝗖𝗘𝗟𝗍. The action is OM, that's an RWA play. The action is JUP. There's some news on that. We're talking about JUP and 𝗬𝗢𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 today. Then Pengu is actually pumping, but where is TOSHI? Because that was the absolute banger this weekend as well. So we are covering TOSHI, but I'd say an all-round, a few things blowing up this weekend, but overall, it's been relatively tight. And if we jump into BTC quickly on the 2 hour, you can see what I mean. We've had a very tight, rangy weekend. It's almost been, it's been a little bit less exciting for any Bitcoin traders here. So it gives us a nice place to tee up for this weekend. It gives us something nice to look forward to this week because we've got quite clearly defined levels that we can start playing around with. So number one, what am I looking at for Bitcoin at the moment? You can see we're in this tight weekend range between 104K and 105,600. That is our tight weekend range at the moment. Then we can look at the liquidation heat map and you can see, look how perfect that is. 106 to the upside, 104 to the downside. So what does this tell me about BTC at the moment? It gives me a couple of reactive zones that we can start reacting in. So if we do get a push higher today, your first area that you're going to start looking for some kind of rejection is going to be the 105,600 region, or alternatively, if there is a little push, you're most likely going to come and take out some of that liquidity a little bit higher up at, say, 106,600. So those are your potential short zones, or those are your potential danger zones if we start moving up before going down this weekend. Now, remember the drill. We like to see some kind of false move either way, and then we can often counter trade that. So if we pump in the next few hours, 105,600 danger zone, liquidity at 106 to 107 danger zone for me to the upside. So look out there. If we start dipping this weekend, here's our weekend low. That is your danger zone there, 104. That is where you most likely get some kind of reactive bounce, 104. So that is going to put you under pressure. The market's going to be melting a little bit. You're going to get that 104. Look for a little sweep just below that for maybe a stop hunt and then some kind of long play for you guys. And then a little bit lower down, you can see I've got a rising trend in play. So this is going to be your backup zone now leading into tomorrow, 103,400. Look out here. Look out for a wick into that zone, 103,400. So that is basically the trading plan on BTC for the next, say, 12 hours leading into now the Asia session leading into Monday. So something to look forward to. At least you've got a plan now, and we can plan accordingly with these alts. If we drop into these zones with BTC to the downside, you just want to make sure some of the alts that I give you today are holding some of these levels, and that should give you a nice little bounce. Now, I've got a couple of setups coming in hot for you guys today, and we're also talking about a couple of things in the news here. And don't forget, I've got James hanging out with me lately, Mr. Superman. Look at that nice shirt, and he brings a couple of fundamentals. He's going to talk to us a little bit about one of the topics, and he might have some info on us on JUP as well as to what is going on. So welcome, sir. Welcome. Okay, let's get into some of the action. So first things first, this man loves a headline, doesn't he? He absolutely loves a headline. And Michael Saylor is back in the mix, and he's singing Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow. Now, obviously, that song is now chiming in your head. It's irritated me the whole day. For the last 3 hours, that song has been playing in my head every time I see this one. And I almost want to hum it for you guys. But he's talking about a potential Bitcoin buy tomorrow, perhaps. Okay, so that is something to think about. What we do know after Saylor buys is we often get some kind of pump, but then we get quite a big sell-off afterwards. I think if we go back in time, we'll note that there is some kind of sell-off. So very interesting for me is what we like to look for at chart hackers. Myself and DJ Dave, we often talk about on Sunday night sessions, we talk about at Chart Hackers, if we get a bearish Monday, we typically look for the rest of the bullish week. If we get a bullish Monday, we look for a bearish week leading up. So if Saylor's going to pump the markets, ideally, it's not going to pump too hard on a Monday because that might be teeing us up for a little bit of weakness for the rest of the week. So just something to look out for here. And I'll be with you guys Monday to Friday. We'll make sure we cover everything. Now, what is DeepSeek? Now, this is going on in the news here. These guys are basically saying that AI is going to be reshaped at the moment. And Holger says China's DeepSeek could represent the biggest threat to U.S. equity markets as the company seems to have built a groundbreaking AI model at an extremely low price and without having access to cutting-edge chips. Remember, it was Trump actually banned some of these chips. What was the story there? James knows a little bit about this. What is the story with the chips?
Yeah, Trump had put a sanction on China, just not allowing them access to the superior chips, right? They couldn't get these H100 chips from NVIDIA. And so they were at a disadvantage. He didn't want them getting ahead of us with AI, but they found a way to use cheaper chips and use the chips on top of each other to create the function over there. Actually, all of their AI models now are superior to all of the ones ChatGPT, all the open, everything is taken over it all. So this is a big problem potentially for NVIDIA on the stock market and our AI tokens as well. And yeah, that could lead to a lot of damage if this goes that way.
So look, this news looked like it's just started coming out late on Friday. So we might still have an impact on the US markets tomorrow. NVIDIA is obviously one of the big ones on the S&P. So we're going to have to watch that one closely. There is a little explanation from the short bear. Now, this guy's clearly bearish and he loves a short. So you can follow what he has to say, the short bear. He's talking about the AI bubble being popped with this news. He's saying impacts. He's going to tell you about the impacts on NVIDIA. How is that going to affect things? And he's gonna give you a whole rundown. So I'm not gonna read this thing for you. You guys can go read this nice little write-up yourself, nice little thread from the short bear explaining exactly what is going on there and how it could affect things. What I like to do, Turbo Joe says, is it time to TP on NVIDIA? Well, guys, this might actually tie into that short that I opened on the S&P on Friday. So things could get interesting here. And here is NVIDIA on the daily chart. And you can see this thing, a little bit of pressure now. It remains to be seen how bad it's going to be on Monday. The market might just shrug this thing off. But if there is a sell-off, we know this thing's not going to go down without some kind of fight. So if you are looking for a reaction zone, if you're looking for a quick trade along on the NVIDIA, you're looking at around about, say, 139. That could be a potential zone for you if it gaps down. Now, the guys are panicking and they absolutely sell this thing. Your next area where you're most likely going to get a bounce is going to be around the 130 region. Now, we're going to have to see how this tech plays out. We're going to have to see how these things start playing out during the course of the week. But look out, okay? Those are your levels there. And obviously look out for the gap down. Okay, so DeepSeek, James, final thoughts on that? Trouble? We wait and see.
I think we have big trouble on open tomorrow. And of course, we've always got, seems every week, we've got some big issue to get past.
Yeah.
This is a new one that we weren't expecting, but we also have the interest rate announcement coming up this week from Jerome Powell. So Wednesday or Thursday?
Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay. But you guys, we'll cover that obviously on Banter Plus. Okay, so could be teeing up for a bit of a bearish Monday. That could tee up for us a nice bullish week. So let's see how that plays out. That is NVIDIA at the moment. Now, the S&P. And you guys will remember, those who were watching my show last week, I'm going to do a giveaway next week. Now, I was long on the S&P from that gap close on Prime XBT, and we traded the gap close, the 786. We had a nice pump there. We've now, subsequent to that, we closed that long. And now I've jumped into a short position on the S&P. That was on Friday. So I'm going to be giving away $500 next week from the profits of that long trade that I took. So just make sure you are watching my show on Banter Plus next week. And obviously, make sure you are trading on Prime XBT, because that is going to be what's going to qualify you to get some of that giveaway that I'm going to be giving away. So all you need to do for everything I'm talking about today is just go into the show description, and you can see all the links here that are concerned to the relevant exchanges. So Prime XBT is sitting here for you guys. And then on top of that, they're giving away 20% deposit bonuses. So if you've signed up to Prime XBT, they're going to give you 20% on top of that to trade with. So there's the link there. Just click on that link, and that is exclusive for the viewers on this show. Okay, so let's talk about the next one. Now, this is what's going around Twitter all weekend, and I actually suspect Uncle spoke about this last week as well, and it's time to tackle this. And the first thing I want to do is just check my poll, because I did drop a poll for you guys, and I just want to see your sentiment at the moment on alt season. So I said, is there an alt season coming? And 64% are convinced that we're still getting an alt season, and 36% are saying selected tokens only. Now, I must say, based on what we've watched over the last 12 months, even a little bit more, I would say I agree with number 2 there. I'm part of the 36%, and we have in the last year, we've seen multiple alt seasons. They just look different. Now we get these pumps of a few weeks. We get these pumps sometimes 2 or 3 weeks, and then we get these big reversals. We've just come out of one, the Trump pump from November, and now we're sitting in January, and we're back at the lows again. So, the alt seasons for me are just looking a little bit different to what they are. And Miles was saying on Twitter, he says, if I see this damn image one more time, now what is this image and what is this all about? So here it is, okay? And I suspect this is the original one, and they said there are 36 million crypto tokens today. We are on pace to have 100 million tokens by the end of 2025. Now, that is a lot to choose from. Now, if you compare that to a regular stock market and things like that, this is obviously, there's no barrier to entry. You can just open and make a token. I can make a token now with the right apps. So to put in perspective, the 2017-18 alt season had less than 3,000 tokens. 2014 had less than 500 tokens. Now, the market gets to choose from 36.4 million tokens. Now, how is there enough money to pump these things the way they used to? Now, if we look at all the charts, and I'm talking about some of the tokens that have been around since 2014, 2015, 2016, if you look at those charts, you get those massive pumps, then you get the drops, and then they're printing lower highs every single time. So there's less and less money going into these things. And Nebraska Guna had an interesting comment as well. He says, this is why we'll never have an alt season like that again. Too many tokens, capital is spread too thin. The market just can't pump all of these tokens. They have to select what they need. Jay Lives or Jay Lives says, great point. Yes, you're 100%. You got to be more selective with what you are choosing at the moment. And people aren't creating or buying altcoins for the same reason that they used to. Correct. It's not what it was. And as you know, with all the memes that are floating around as well. And Not Sure says, Popcat should have been cat poop. I concur. I 100% occur with that shit coinery out there. But what we do know is that the stuff is like a cyclical, and we go into AI agents, and now you can see some of them are bleeding a little bit. Then we'll go back into AI. We'll go back into gaming. We'll go back into the memes. So don't write off Popcat. Don't write off some of those things. They will always come back. And the fifth man says he's waiting for Dill with beard. Guys, we need that. That is urgent, okay? When the SOL memes start pumping again, we'll have to get something out like that. Ash Crypto says, why is alt season delayed? Now, he said pretty similar things to that tweet that we saw, and he's obviously explaining it quite nicely. So market is diluted. Exchanges only listing memes to grab volume. Correct. They want to grow their user base. Correct. Retail buys these memes and down 80% in a week and then quit. Okay, what happens? What have we seen so many times? We've seen guys in March 24. We've seen guys now come in November to December. What happens? They come in, the market pumps, then they come in. They end up buying the last 10 or 20%. Then they get absolutely rinsed, and then they go, fuck this, I'm out of crypto. Okay, so things are definitely looking a little bit different. So what's Man of Steel saying? Just stay in the top 100. Look, safe bet. Okay, safe bet. You want to stay in the top 100, but it's less fun. Okay, it's way less fun. So guys, that is the view on alt season. Yes, we do get alt seasons, and I think you guys just don't know we've been having them. Okay, so I think that Trump pump was a nice little alt season for us. If you look at some of these tokens, they've absolutely ripped. Now they've given up the gains, and I suspect in the next few months we get the same thing again. So it's a matter of survival now, and it's a matter of understanding that the playing field has changed, and we can take profits. Now, a lot of the hodl players are not going to like this. The guys that are hodling, anyone that bought before November the 4th is probably flat or underwater on most of their tokens. So imagine what the guys did that bought in December, early December, when things were absolutely ripping. So they're feeling a little bit of pressure as well. So something to be said for now, taking profits earlier, being a little bit smarter in the plays, and not hanging on too long to some of our spot positions. Okay. Let's cover Bitcoin on the daily. Now, this is the big one. This is for the Bitcoin hodlers. Now, this is a different ballgame. I'm talking about altcoins when I'm saying taking profits and doing these things. Bitcoin, obviously, we know the guys love to hold this stuff. So there's a couple of things that I'm paying attention to now on BTC on the daily, and the big ones for me, the big ones you need to worry about. 102,600. You can see that's a big daily level for us there. That is your first line you want to hold. Don't really want to lose that. If we lose that, you've got 99,500. That is going to hurt the altcoins. There's going to be tons of pressure on the alts if we dip down there. And most likely, you're going to see a lot of them, like Popcat, with those type of guys, printing some new lows there, potentially. So we got 5% down on BTC to the big level, 99,500. Watch that area. That often equates to 10, 15% on some of these altcoins. And Arctic Trading says, yes, just have to trade. Guys, remember, yeah, I mean, here's the story, okay? Who bought Cardano, okay, back in the days? And then what happened? That thing did a nice little pump to whatever it was, $2 or $3, and then it did a full round trip, basically back to 17 cents or something like that. So there's definitely something to be said for taking profits along the way. Now Cardano is pumping again, but have you learned your lesson? Are you going to take profits this time, or are you going to hold it for the full round trip next time? So again, look, this time could be different, but we'll have to see. And Sean says everything tops in December 24. So we're going back in time again. Is he sending us back in time here, James? December 24. And Tony says, perfect. Everyone is so bearish. We're going to the moon. I love that. I love that, Tony. I love that. I love that spirit. Now, this is relatively bullish. I'm glad Tony was telling us we're going to the moon. Bitcoin on track to make the highest weekly close ever. That sounds pretty bullish. And if it failed to hold the gains last week, but we know a nice candle close above a certain level on a weekly, that's nice. Okay, that could be a really bullish sign for us that we do start attacking levels to the upside. So just looking on the daily for me on Bitcoin, this 113,800 is still my target that I am looking at. And we're still looking for that pump into that zone. Let's see if we get a nice weekly close there and keep things a little bit spicy for us along the way. Okay, so Bitcoin 2 hour, you guys know the levels. Remember all the charts that I'm covering today. What's wrong with WIF? What is right with WIF, bro? But yes, look, those coins are going to bounce again. I'm actually building a Ponky long position at the moment, trying to be super patient because we know there's going to be a massive reversal on WIF, on Ponky, on Popcat. It is going to be coming. So remember, guys, all the charts I'm talking about today go straight into Chart Hackers. Okay, so that will be there available after the show. So Chart Hackers members, it will be under the live show charts. Just go there and access them at your leisure. Okay, let's go. Bitcoin dominance. Now, this is the big one for us for the altcoins. And looking at dominance now on the 12-hour, you can see still relatively bearish on the 12-hour oscillator. So as long as this is churning down for us, that tells us these alts are in with a shot. These alts do have a chance of a little bit of pumpage. So for me, looking a little bit lower, you can see our upside target is just under 60%. We haven't hit that yet. But if we do get some downside in dominance, all you need to do is keep this chart open. If you are trading alts to the upside, if you are long alts, look out for the bounce on dominance, 57.8. Look out for the bounce there. That could hurt your altcoins if we do get a dip into that zone. Okay, so this is interesting. Look at that. Death cross and then the golden cross at the same time. That's the 50-day MA dropping through the 200, then the 50-day MA pushing back up through the 200. So dominance is a little bit confused at the moment as well, and as are a lot of altcoin traders. So look, small moves and look for these small little shifts in the market and make sure you're taking profits. So 57.8, 57.8% on dominance. A push down there is most likely where you might find a rejection on some of the altcoins. So just be cautious there. Take some profits on your alts. And then USDT dominance, that's one I've been tracking again for a little bit last week, watching this, paying a little bit of attention. This thing does still look a little bit bullish to me. You can see this one is tracking higher. So we really need to start losing levels for us to get super bullish on the altcoins and the rest of the market if we do lose these types of levels on USDT dominance. So right now we do have nice resistance at that zone. So any pumps in there, looking for a rejection. And once we start losing key levels on this USDT dominance, that should unlock some of the alts for us as well and the rest of the market. And Dennis says, thanks for the Fartcoin entry. Yes, that was an absolute ripper. Okay, a little stinker that one was. And I gave it on my show and I gave it on Chart Hackers as well last week. So I'm going to cover that one for you. We're going to do an update on that Fartcoin. And I've got a couple of other setups for you that I think could play out similarly. Okay, so stick around. Make sure you're watching. And I'm also doing a giveaway today. I'm going to put a lot of guys into Chart Hackers for essentially free. Okay, so stick around. We've got a giveaway coming for you guys. And I see Chaos is there in the chats as well. Okay, let's talk ETH because it's the most exciting shitcoin out there. And Nick says, in my opinion, ETH has already lost the consumer chain race. Nothing that the Ethereum Foundation can do now to reverse the move to SOL and other chains by retail. However, it's still one of the most trusted networks for institutions. Agree, they should double down on that. It's their competitive advantage. We know, like Trump and his mates, and a lot of the institutions are buying ETH. And this was last week, Trump buying $15 million worth of ETH. And we know they are also staking a lot of that at the moment. Is there something coming with regards to a staking narrative? Do we need to pay attention to things like Lido? Must we be paying attention if the regulation starts changing? So let's look at ETH on the daily. And for me, I keep it very simple. And there's two levels you need to worry about for ETH right now. 3,500, that's the bear level, 3.5, and it's 2.8. That's all you really need to be fussed about at the moment. And Carlos says, Dylan is the best. Fuck the rest. Bro, thank you. Appreciate it, sir. And remember, you can hit the likes, hit the subscribes, but most importantly, come to Banter Plus. I'm there every single day, Monday to Friday. You catch me there. Okay. ETH to the upside, 3,500. Why is that important to me? You can see major resistance in that zone. What does this tell me? It tells me if we blow through this 50-day moving average, that is your red line. You see this red line over there. If you blow through that thing, we get pretty bullish because we're breaking through a trend as well. We are breaking through our upside VWAP as well, and we're breaking through some big horizontals. So 3.5, a nice pump through that turns us pretty bullish on ETH. And I would say the rest of the market will respond very well. If ETH starts ripping like that, I suspect we're going to get some massive moves there. So that's the big one, 3,500. That's where you need to pay attention. And then to the downside, we're going to have a miserable time. If this thing starts dropping, can you imagine the smell in the rest of the market if ETH is dropping 15%? Imagine what AVAX is doing. Imagine what Render is doing. Imagine what Near is doing. All these other tokens, the meme coins. Okay, so it's not something we really want to see. It's a 15% drop on ETH. So that could equate to 20, 25 on some of the other alts at the moment that we could watch. But that is realistically another target for you guys. So it depends how the week goes. Obviously, we don't want to see it, but 2.8 to 2.7, that's your next banger to the downside. So if you're breaking the 50-day MA, you're going to jump in here. You're going to play momentum. You're going to play this momentum through that zone. You're going to chase 4,000. If we're melting down, you're going to sit back and wait. Let it play out. We're going to hope for then 2.8, 2.7 if we get down there. James is back. Now, James was giving us a hard time last week, and I'm glad he's joined Hackers. James, did you join Hackers last week? Did you get your BitFunded as well that we gave you? Let us know in the chats there, James. Okay. Let's go. Lido, we spoke about this last week on the show. For those of you that missed it, there could be a staking narrative coming for ETH. And we know Lido has secretly been moving higher and higher, quite strategically and quite quietly there on the side. So Pentoshi says Lido probably violent repricing when the filings come in the next couple of weeks. Okay, he says if you believe ETH staking will be approved, then Lido is likely a great bet. I agree. Okay, and that is why we've been tracking this on my show for the last, we tracked it last week. So something interesting is brewing here for Lido. And I don't want to get you guys too pumped or too excited to the upside, but there's a few things that you can start looking at. And there's a couple of targets that we can start playing with at the moment. So your first one is 2.5. Your next one is going to be 2.7. And then, realistically look at around about 3 as your potential targets to the upside. And then you can see this thing does have a very similar look to Ethereum. If you really look at that ETH chart, you can see we've got that inverse head and shoulders here, and that thing could be gearing up for a little bit of a move for us. So what you need to do now in the short term, obviously understanding that Lido is potentially bullish and it's bullish on a bullish ETH. So if we break the 50-day MA on ETH, that could be a situation where you really want to start jumping into Lido and start building a position. Now, if you want to speculate, what you can do is start trying to buy this thing on any weakness to the downside. So you can see there's a couple of things happening here at the moment for Lido. It is trying to stick its neck out currently, and you can see we do have a support band. So what I'm looking at personally is a Lido to start pushing higher. But what I need to see is I want Lido to hold the 1.9 region. That is our 50-day moving average. That is also our lows here. So if we pull some fibs, we'll probably pick up some kind of fibbage in that zone as confluence. Look at that. There's our 382 sitting at 1.9. So that immediately tells me if we get some weakness later today, as long as it's, gentle weakness on BTC. And when I say gentle weakness, I'm talking about perhaps a visit back to that trend for BTC. Maybe 103,400 could be quite pleasing there. If we get that that could make sense to us. Then you're looking at Lido around about this 1.9 potential. So that could be a really nice entry for you guys, for Lido to start building a position. So any weakness here, we've stuck our head through the horizontal. So any, reasonable weakness, 1.9, look for those buys. Then we're going to start sending that one up to about 2.4, 2.5 as your potential target. So first things first, 1.9, what you want to hold. If the market really melts down, you can see we do have a rising trend in play, and that's going to be 1.7. So if you see weakness in the market this week and you are still bullish, you are still bullish on the crypto market as a whole, and you seeing this as an opportunity, then you can build a position. 1.9 you're buying, 1.7 you're buying, and your bias is that this thing holds the rising trend, and then we start attacking 2.5, 2.7, 3, and we start moving to those higher levels. So keep it really simple. Don't over leverage. And you can see these are your targets, and these charts will be in Chart Hackers for you guys. Redemption, bro, are you bearish today? What's going on? But we can trade these moves. Okay, that is the thing. And if the cycle top is in, that's cool. But we're going to get the shorts, we're going to get the longs, and the stuff is going down. We know other tokens are popping off, and as long as we're doing our work and we're doing our research, then we are good. Okay, let's look at a couple of things here at the moment. This is my current situation in Bybit, and you can see I'm still long SOL, and that TOSHI has been an absolute banger this weekend. Now, just a reminder, those of you been watching this TOSHI position of mine, this thing was negative $12,000 or something at some point. This thing has made an epic reversal now this weekend, and it's finally turned green. So we're going to talk about TOSHI today, and I have cut some more of that position. So it's only a $50,000 now, and it was a lot bigger now this weekend, and now I've been cutting out of this thing, and just to minimize those losses that I was feeling on that TOSHI trade. Then I've got a head short now on Jupe. I'm going to cover that. I'm going to cover that for you guys in a second. I'm going to show you why. You can see Link, I'm still long from last week. Brett, I'm talking about that as well. And the Brett shorts keep paying while these longs just keep bleeding out. But we're going to keep using the shorts to buy. And if TOSHI is anything to go by and some base action, I'm pretty bullish on Brett. So not going to give up that position. We're going to keep letting the shorts print. We're going to bank the shorts. Every time we get a pump, we open head shorts. We bank the profits when we dip again, and we're going to keep adding. So that Brett position is now $100,000 in size, and I've got that head short in play. Doge speculative long, SUI. I've got a SUI set up for you guys. I think we're going to get a SUI long in the next couple of days. I think it's coming. I've got that chart ready for you guys. Peppy, that is the same one from last week. AVAX, no changes there. I see we get a little bit of action there on AVAX. That thing is starting to move. Head shorts, Aptos, that's now 46,000. Head short on NIA, that is $55,000 at the moment, and that is just to get some cover in case we get that downside. So playing that one, and then Say was also another one we picked up last week. So that is pretty much what I've got going on at the moment. And there's WIF. You can see a little bit of WIF action. Who was saying what the fuck is wrong with WIF? Now, I do believe some of these tokens are going to pop, and they are going to start bouncing again. So that is why I'm not ignoring them at the moment. And WIF is one of the longs I've got brewing here. And I've also got Ponky that I started buying a little bit of. So let's talk TOSHI. This thing was an absolute banger this weekend, and we can see we've got TOSHI is evolving. So TOSHI will be pushed to BitFunded mainnet in the next 2 weeks. Okay, so things are going down there, and they said start doing your subnet research. Now, you know, the fundamental guys will love the shit. James, you know anything about TOSHI at the moment? Anything interesting here?
I mean, I saw that there's this vote coming up here on this detail, right? And that's why it's pumping like this. It's just speculation at the moment. If that thing goes through, yeah, they're super bullish on it. And that's assuming that we don't have this horrific AI crash with this DeepSeek thing, right? That's gonna be quite telling. Okay, it's funny that the market is really quick. Uncle here is all over socials. Uncle Ran.
Yeah.
And apparently somebody's made a meme token of him. I saw it all through the chats. He's just gone and burnt. He got 70% of the supply sent to him. He's just burnt it all. So it's just the rage of the banter talk right now. It's all over socials. It's all over the chat. I don't know what's going on myself, but yeah, lots of screaming.
Okay, we'll try and look at that one. We'll try, guys. Let us know in the chats what is going on there. Let us know what is happening. Okay, let's see. Matty says SUI big unlock coming. Now, if the SUI unlock is anything like the Ondo unlock, we might see some interesting things. So we know that SUI has been an underperformer. Over the last while. I think we can agree. SUI's been pretty slow. It's been actually a shitty trade over the last few weeks relative to some others. Is there a trade coming on SUI? I think there is, and I've got a setup coming in here for you guys. And look, Ondo pumped on that unlock. It was 120% that they unlocked on Ondo, and that thing is pumping. So we're going to cover SUI in a sec. Let's talk 𝗏𝗏. Now, guys, anyone that was watching my show last week, anyone that was in Chart Hackers, you guys are cooking. Okay, well done on taking the trade. Let me know in the chats who actually took this 𝗏𝗏 trade. I mean, this thing was absolute perfection. The way we were looking for this thing to dip into the low 360s, and we got this thing into about 363, and that was our horizontals, and that tied in really nicely with our reversals that we were seeing on the oscillator. So beautiful, strong bounce on 𝗏𝗏. So anyone that got that, let us know in the chat, and congrats. And I've had now a massive reversal on this 𝗏𝗏, and you can see that is why I'm starting to exit some of my position, because I was very underwater there. Alex says 𝗏𝗏ist army at the moment. Let me know who else got some 𝗏𝗏 action there in the chat. So what is the game plan now? And look, you can see our main target is just around the corner now. So if we do push into the 50-day MA, that was our main target for 𝗏𝗏, and that is 486 is what you're looking at. So that would close out a 31% move for you on 𝗏𝗏. So that is a beautiful low leverage or beautiful spot trade there. So I really hope some of you guys got some of that action there last week, and well done if you did. And I'm going to be closing my 𝗏𝗏 position at that 50-day MA. If we pump into that thing, I'm laddering out of it. Okay, we're going to get done there, and most likely there's going to be a short in that zone as well for us, so we can look for shorts on 𝗏𝗏 in those types of areas potentially. Remember, this was just a news pump on this information. Okay, 𝗏𝗏 is evolving, blah, 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 gets excited, and then we most likely get some kind of sell-off. So got 𝗏𝗏, if it falls below 200 MA cutting, yeah, I mean, that's fair. Okay, for your 200-day MA is 440. If you close under that thing, yes, you probably want to start trimming that thing, because we mostly are likely come down. You'll probably find we print a higher low, but it's going to be a horrible move back to the downside if it does start falling over. So just look out for that one, guys. NZ Danny is short. I'm guessing you're looking for shorts on 𝗏𝗏. And Crypto G says Chinese nothing. So he's not too phased, I don't think, about the new information there on DeepSeek. And what Justin says, 𝗏𝗏 to 336. Let's take a look. Yeah, 336 is there. It can obviously reverse. And yeah, and Syed says 𝗏𝗏 no hype left. Look, so that is why I'm going to be exiting at that 486. And I've already cut some of my position at that 200, and we'll cut more a little bit down the road. Now, if anybody wants to know what I'm doing, okay, if you watch the show and you say, well, what is this guy doing? He's drawing these lines. How did he know it was going to bounce? How did he know there was going to be action in these levels? What the fuck is a VWAP? What is an MA? Help me, please. Well, guys, there's a way you could do this, okay? Go to my trading accelerator. My masterclass is tomorrow. That is in 19 hours time. So you're going to learn everything that I do, plus all the beautiful combinations that I cover with all that chart prime stuff, from the oscillators to the quantum reactors to all the other tools that I'm using, as well as obviously getting access to join hackers, which you can join through the accelerator program. So sign up here, do the course. Okay, in 10 days, you're going to know what I'm doing. You're going to be able to take a trade. And at my masterclass tomorrow, I'm going to teach you a few tips and tricks. Okay, we're going to cover leverage. We're going to cover a few things like that you didn't know were possible. So make sure you sign up. All you need to do, again, go to the show description. The school is at the top here. The Accelerator School, Dylan's Accelerator School. Learn trading strategies to increase your profits in 10 days. Guys, I've really made this as simple as possible. If you find my show relatively simple to understand, or my TA simple to understand, I've broken it down for you in a select group of videos there, and I've shown you how to do it. Okay, so you're going to be trading in a couple of days, and PYD, well done, bro. And so jump into that. And obviously, part of the accelerator, you're going to get the chart prime package. You're going to get this beautiful oscillator that I always talk about. Look at this thing, giving us clues and hints all day long. This is a massive part of my trading, using this as confluence for us. And what does Matt says? Dylan, for this photo, say cheese. Nah, scream banger. That is true. You have to scream banger. Now, there's a great banger video that we dropped on the Chart Hackers X account. So if you want to see that, I actually dropped it here the other day. It was an absolute banger video. Where's this thing? Okay, so just follow Chart Hackers, okay? You can see what's going on. We're dropping alpha here for you guys. We're obviously dropping what is going on in there as well at the moment. So give us a follow there. It's the Chart Hackers. Okay, follow us. You can see we've got 1,500 followers. Let's push that up, guys. And obviously, hackers, follow this. Hackers, why aren't you guys following us here? And we'll make sure there's some cool videos coming through. Now, here's the video I posted on the Altcoin trade that I gave you guys on Friday on the show. And I also gave it to the Chart Hackers crew last week. So hopefully some of you guys got that. Let's take a look here and just see what went down. So this Altcoin was a combination of using basic TA, understanding that we were in a downward wedge, understanding that we were in a downtrend, understanding that we were looking for a nice big bounce off a beautiful horizontal, and obviously using some of the oscillator magic that they can give us. So you can see at the time this Altcoin was dipping. We were in that type of region, and I was saying we wanted an entry at 1.13. Now there were a couple of clues. By the time we got there, you can see the price action was printing lower, the oscillator was printing higher as well. There were clues here that we were going to get a bounce on Altcoin. So I really hope that some of you guys got this move, and that move from our entry, the 1.13, was about a 30% move off a hot zone. So keeping it super simple there. And if you do the accelerator, you're going to learn how to do this. Okay, you're going to learn how to be patient. You're going to learn how to wait for these types of setups. And I see Soulful is loving it as well. And come on, hackers, let us. Yeah, I mean, don't listen to me about hackers. The hackers in the chat, let us know what you think about hackers. Okay. So Altcoin, is there another move coming? Yes, but I don't have a new entry for you guys. So remember, the secret about watching my show is to select some of your charts. Okay, don't do every single one that I give you. It's too much to manage. I can't trade every chart that I give you as well. I also just select a few and select your favorites. Be patient. Sometimes the setups that I give you take a day to play out. Sometimes they take hours. Sometimes they could take 3 or 4 days before you get your entry. That Altcoin was one of them. It took about 12 hours or 24 hours to actually play out. So it was a matter of taking notes, understanding the levels, knowing when to push the button. And I caught this one via a limit order, a literal limit order. I set my limit order at 1.13 because that was my level. Okay, that is what I was looking at. That is there. That's my P&L. Okay, look at that, 1.13. Caught that thing on the limit order. It was a 20x buy there and closed that at 1.39. So nice little banger there on Altcoin. You will learn about all of this stuff in the Chart Hackers. Now, here's another one for you. And I see Mark's in the chat. He says, can't say enough good things. Well, guys, you'll find out. I'm doing a giveaway. I'm doing a giveaway shortly to get you guys into hackers. Here's Virtual. Now, this is another AI agent. So Altcoin, we know AI agent. Virtual is the platform for AI agents. And there's a couple of things brewing here for me, and I suspect we're going to get some kind of trade on Virtual, and we're going to get some kind of bounce play. Now, if we treat this very similarly to the Altcoin setup, look at that. The Altcoin setup, we got a beautiful bounce at these horizontals. I'm looking for a similar vibe here on Virtual. So look at that. We've got beautiful horizontals playing out here. My oscillator is starting to sweat out again to the downside. So ideally, I want to get this oscillator resetting at the bottom. We want to see reversal prints. Look at those green triangles. We want to see these type of prints here. We want to see divergences start playing out as well. So I'm looking for that 4 hour to push lower. So very patient now at the moment. Where do I think this Virtuals can give you a banger move? And I'm talking about a nice move. I'm not talking about that. Okay, that's rubbish. I'm not talking about that. Okay, I want a big one for you guys. And where do I think we're going to get that? For me, it's 2.23. Either this guy there, 2.23, or it's going to be a dip into 2. That is where it's at. You can see I've set my alarm on TradingView at 2. That is where I'm looking for the big bounce. So 2 is the big one. And for me, if we get that move over the next day or so, we're going to see a massive reset here on the 4 hour. And that's going to start teeing us up for some kind of bounce. Now, we also have backup. We've got our 100-day moving average. Look at this banger here, just underneath here at 1.8. Now, as the days go on, this 100-day MA will start creeping up as well. And that's going to give us wick support. So if we drop into that guy, we're looking for a wick onto the 100-day MA, and then we're looking for that bounce. So 2 is my banger zone for me. 2.23 is going to call it 2.24, guys. 2.24 is going to be the next one. Less conviction, the banger, 2. And that is where I'm looking for that action. And let's see, Bruno says that base shit is the thing. And who said pick me? And Moodog says, Mad Dog says, I mean, shit, I need hackers, bro. Come to hackers, because it's not just me giving out trades. I've got such an amazing team in there. And we've got guys in the traders chat that we've put in there that are helping you guys short. They're helping you long. They're talking to you all day long. You can bounce ideas off them. They are in there for you guys. They are at your service, and they are proper traders. Okay, the shit's going down in there at Hackers. You're going to get your stuff sorted out. Okay, Shebuck says, Hackers, yes, please. Gregor says, GRT. Are we looking at GRT? Look, I covered TOWO. I didn't want to go too deep into renders and GRTs today. A lot of them do have a similar look, but we've got a lot to go through today, and let's crack on. So here is SOL on the 8 hour. And guys, remember, if I'm going too fast, these charts will be available for you guys, obviously, in Hackers. So SOL on the 8 hour, you can see we've got something interesting happening. Now, last week I was saying, after that rejection on SOL, I'm perfectly happy if we get some kind of consolidation, some kind of flag here on SOL, no problem. Okay, that will actually be nice and bullish for the market. It will be nice and bullish for us on SOL. So happy if they want to do that. But you can see there's something else going on right now. We've got a little triangle forming. Now, look, the odds are potentially if we get a breakout, it's going to be to the upside, and it could be quite a strong move on SOL, and that is going to be a 290 target, 295, somewhere in those types of areas. And then the downside, you can see with what is going on here. If we get a medium-sized Bitcoin dip, you just want to watch 247. As long as we're holding 247, for me, that's pretty bullish. That might even be a scalp long for you on SOL. So anybody not sitting in SOL from lower down and you're looking for a scalp play, 247, a little dip into that, leading into the Asia session tomorrow could be interesting, could give you a bounce there. 247, then your big levels that you need to watch if there is more weakness later on this week, or if there is more weakness this week, like early, I'm talking Monday. What are your levels? 232, and then your absolute banger, and this is a massive area for me, 210 to 216. So that will be a proper long zone. That will be a banger long zone there. That's our 50-day MA, 100-day MA, horizontals, 618, VWAP from the highs there. There's a lot happening here, 216 to 210. So DGens, 247, possible scalp there. Backup zone, 232, banger zone, 210 to 216. That is a big area there for me on SOL. So look out for that guy. Then let's talk Jupe. Now, this thing absolutely exploded this weekend. And I know DJ Dave, I actually felt sick when I saw that man's P&L today. And he absolutely nailed that trade for us there in Hackers. But even Lutra saying the exchange dedicates 50% of protocol fees to Jupe token buybacks. That is nice. And Tommy says today is the day. 30% of the Jupiter supply will be burnt. Now, remember what happens. They're taking supply away. Okay, it's gone. It's never going to come back. So that's pretty bullish. They're decreasing supply. So that is pretty bullish for Jupiter as a whole. And you can see what is going on. Now, I covered this one last week on my show a couple of times. And look, to be fair, it was volatile. And I actually caught that first move there. Pretty chuffed with myself. What happened? They dropped it all the way back down. And then I actually stopped watching Jupe. But subsequent to that, Dave was watching Jupe. And he caught that next move to the upside. So what an absolute banger here. Why am I head short? Okay, this is why I'm head short. 1.28. Look at our 786 rejection. Then we've got another danger zone here. 1.38. Okay, 1.38 to 1.43. That is another danger zone for me. So yes, on the daily, this thing still looks like it could churn a little bit higher now. That thing does look pretty bullish, but I would suspect on the lower time frames, you're probably going to start turning a little bit bearish now after that news. So that 4 hour is getting a little bit cooked at the moment. Let's look at the 1 hour, and you can see that 1 hour is printing divergence now. So very interesting to me. You see that high on Jupe over there. That was on Saturday, and look at that. And then our oscillator printed a lower high, but our price printed a higher high. So that is bearish divergence there. And that could be a short-term sign that there might be a little bit of consolidation or a little roll over here on Jupe. So for me, a head short play, I missed the pup. Okay, so my only trade at the moment is to look for a head short rather than try and jump into these hot tokens. So alternatively, if you want another option, what you can do is dial into lower time frames. You can see this thing is sitting at resistance, and you want to start tracking a flag of sorts. and then you can start playing that breakout. So that would be your most bullish setup there for you guys. Look for some consolidation there, just under that 1.3 zone, and then maybe you get some kind of breakout. But in terms of pumpage, nice little move for Jupe. I would say this stuff does die down. There is some kind of pullback at some point, but a 67% pump from the lows on Wednesday. Well done. Okay, if you made a long, I hope you've taken a couple of profits there along the way. So danger zone 1.28, danger zone 1.4 to 1.43, danger zone 1.58. Okay, those are your best short zones there. And okay, let's do a giveaway before we get into a couple of other things, like the SUI trade that I've got ready for you guys. Okay, I suspect we're going to get a SUI trade, yeah. Okay, what I want to do is I want to give you guys that sign up to Hackers today. So if you're signing up to Hackers from today, from the show leading in tomorrow, okay, you're gonna get a BitFunded base pack from me. Now, let me just explain to you what BitFunded is. If you guys don't know, this is BitFunded. Okay, so essentially what this is prop trading, and you're going to be trading with other people's money. So what you can do is send $79, $99, $249. You can buy a challenge account. Then you got to make 8%. Then you got to make 5%. If you do that, they give you real money to trade with. Okay, so you're trading with other people's money, and then theoretically your risk is lower. Your risk, if you pass the base account, was $79, and now you're trading with a $5,000 account of somebody else's money. You got the $10,000 account as well that you can get. And I've been trading this BitFunded. We're working on a couple of things for you guys, but here's my first two accounts that I've got funded here. There's a 10,000 account funded, a 5,000 account funded, and I'm about to pass the $25,000 funded account as well. I've got one more day of trades left. You can see I've got 5 out of 5 days. Okay, so I've passed the $25,000 account is now passed as well. So I've got 3 funded accounts now on BitFunded and busy going through that process. So that is BitFunded, guys. Now, I want to give you guys a crack at this BitFunded, and I'm going to give away these BitFunded base accounts. But you need to have signed up to Hackers using the link below. Okay, now on top of that, I've given you a discount on Hackers in the show description. So there's a discount on that right now. It's only valid for the first 70 people. So you got to sign up there. The first 70 are going to get the first 20% off for the first month, and you're going to get a base account from BitFunded. Okay, so very simple. And all you need to do, guys, is email giveaways@cryptobanter.com. James, will you just put that in the chat there for me? Giveaways@cryptobanter.com. Show them that you've signed up to Hackers today or over the next 12 hours. Show them that you've signed up to Hackers using WAP. Then they're going to tell you you must just register a BitFunded account with your email, and I'm going to send you a $79 BitFunded based account. Okay, so they're gonna cut each other off there. Okay, so it's going to be about $80 to sign up for Hackers, and you're going to get an $80 BitFunded account. Okay, so are you happy with that, James? Are you happy with that?
I'm happy with that. Do
Sounds
you
like
remember
a good
this
deal.
man? Do you remember this man, 𝗫𝗢𝗪𝗪?
Yes. What are we
Just
doing
put it
with
up
him?
there. I don't know.
We
You
do.
asked me to remind you. I think it was about this BitFunded or
Okay.
Hackers. I'm not sure which. I just remember you asked me, and he's jumped in saying, "Please remember me."
Philippe, email giveaways@cryptobanter.com. Say, I am Philippe, looking for my BitFunded. Okay, do that for me, and then we'll have your email, and then we can sort you out. Okay, do that for me, Philippe. Okay, okay, let's go. I see you guys are talking about this. I see you guys are talking about Run's coin. Do they actually call it Run?
Everybody's talking about it nonstop. Yeah.
Okay, let's get into SUI. Let's get you guys a setup. So look, SUI looks pretty interesting to me. I think we're going to get a SUI reversal pretty soon. I'm obviously started a SUI position. I'd like to get a bigger size. Now, I know Matt was saying there is a unlock coming, and we saw if it's anything like Ondo, this thing underperformed into the unlock and then it started pumping. And Ondo underperformed into the unlock and then it started pumping. So if we are going to play that game, there's 2 zones here for me on SUI, and I didn't want to miss it. If there is going to be some kind of vicious pump where, without me being in it, I'm going to be quite annoyed. So just on the 12-hour, you can see there's a couple of things going on here. We've got our oscillator really trending down, but I'm looking for this thing to start reversing pretty soon now on the oscillator on the 12-hour. So that is starting to track a little bit more bullish for me. What does that tell me? It tells me there's 2 main levels that I want to be watching for SUI. The first level is 4.04, and I've marked that for you. That will be just taking out this liquidity there. You can see that candle, 4.04. Then lower down, 3.89. That is going to be your next banger zone. 3.89, call it 3.9. For SUI, look at these levels here. Look at that nice horizontal. And all I'm looking for here, trying to keep it super simple, is we know the strength of a 786 FIB. Let me show you the strength of the 618. Look there, 618. Look at that 618 bounce. Bang. Bang, okay? Looking for the same thing on the 786, 3.9. Look for that move, 3.9. You've got confluence here on the horizontals. 3.9 is what you're looking at. You've got a wick backup on the 100-day MA. Look out for that, say 3.8. But for me, SUI is teeing up for a move. 4.04, 3.9, look for entries there. I'm looking for that bounce. If we look on lower time frames as well, you're going to see this thing is starting to look a little bit more bullish. And you can see we're printing the bullish divergence here. We've got the spider web coming up. And things are looking interesting from that perspective. And that is why I've started a position on Bybit. I didn't go too big, okay? I've started it because I'd like to see these dips where I can add to that position. If we start ripping, then I'm going to have to play momentum, and I'm going to start adding to SUI as this thing goes higher. So we'll look for some kind of trend break, and we'll start adding to that thing and play the momentum. But right now, I'm in it, looking for buyers on weakness. If we pump, we're going to add and play that momentum game. So that is the game plan on SUI. That chart will be ready for you guys in Hackers later. And then as far in terms of what I got going on WeX at the moment, you can see I'm still in Ondo. I got the Ondo chart. I want to show you why I'm trying to hold this one. And Ponky, this is the Ponky that I started the other day. I'm trying to build a low leverage position on Ponky because a lot of these memes are so oversold, and they're looking at reversals on the daily oscillator, and we cannot ignore a daily reversal. Okay, even if the sentiment is not there at the moment, maybe you want to be looking at these things when no one else is, because that might get you your banger entry. So let's talk Ondo. And Pentoshi says Ondo Summit coming in 12 days time. BlackRock Chief Investment Officer will be speaking, and they have many connections there that will likely lead to some speculation short term. Okay, so maybe it's something that we can try and hold on to. Now, my entry isn't amazing. It's 1.26 or 1.27. So there's a risk, obviously, of it coming back to wipe me out before it pumps again. But can't really ignore what is going on with Ondo. So just on the 12-hour, in terms of the 12-hour, just a couple of things I don't like. Bearish divergence on the 12-hour, okay, but we're leading into that event. Is it something that we can maybe push through? We'll have to wait and see if that's possible. You can just see the last time we did have bearish divergence here on Ondo there, we did get some moves to the upside. So not writing that off completely. And then we've got a few things in the way. So number one, we've got our 50-day MA in the way. We've got our 382 in the way as well. And that is quite a bearish zone for me. So until we pop that area, we actually need to be careful, especially with new trades. So what I want to do is give you a new entry on Ondo in case we get that opportunity. So I've mapped this one out here for you guys, and looking at some kind of move into this rising trend. So again, and I don't like this false move here. Well, I mean, it might be a real move, but Jane, this pump, I don't know. it's worrying me.
Well, we're heading into the weekend too. You know what happens on Sunday evening in the Asia Open.
Okay, so yeah, guys, just remember, if we're pumping now on a Sunday, are the Asians just going to buy the pump, or do they like to get better entries? Just think about it like that. So generally, they might want to get better entries. So yeah, I don't want to get too excited on a Sunday when the candle's turning green. So I just want you guys to be prepped if we do move a little bit lower. So Ondo, realistically, where can we stay bullish on this thing? You can see if we do start dipping lower, that guy, 1.36, that's the banger for me. 1.36, that's trend, that's some horizontals there. I like that zone as a potential bounce area for me. So let's see if we get that one. That is your most degen play, and then your backup level is 1.3 that you're going to be watching. So 1.3 for me. So 1.36, guys, try and snag that entry on weakness. What does that mean? That gives us about 7%. So that's a nice sell-off for us, and that'll take us to the weekend lows. Look at that. And that's if Bitcoin goes to the weekend lows as well. 1.36. Look for that move on Ondo. Could be a banger there. Then let's talk memes now. This thing, I mean, this thing, I think I showed you guys this on Friday, but I just love this. Saw a guy turn $5 into 40K on a meme coin. I put 500 into one now, and I have 2. Okay, now it happens to a lot of people. I saw some stats floating around. They did a poll, and something like 40, I think it was CZ, doing the poll, and I think 40% of people had lost money trading meme coins. Okay, and I mean, I think there's some quite honest answers there. In his poll. So TOSHI is the flavor. Now, this thing was listed on Coinbase today, I believe, or it might have been yesterday. And this is what upsets me about Brett, okay? Because it sounds like Brett's never going to get listed. Just talk to me about Brett. You had a comment on Brett once getting listed. What was the story?
Yeah, I read an article saying that Armstrong specifically was not listing Brett to force people to the base chain. Because what do they need to go to the base chain for if they can just buy it on the Coinbase wallet?
Sure.
And so, yeah, but the same thing could be said for TOSHI, but it's not the pet project. Brett was the big one, and I don't know. This is stealing liquidity from Brett, and we'll see what happens.
Killing everything. Okay, so it's killing everything on base at the moment. It was like that Trump coin. I mean, it just absolutely fucking sucked everything out of everything else. So it is now overtaken MOG, okay? And he says, I remember the dog ship runs at 21. This feels similar. Congrats to everyone who hang on to TOSHI. Now, really, congrats, because it wasn't one of my high conviction plays. Mine was Brett, okay? And now TOSHI has beaten me, and I'm sitting in a monster Brett position that's underwater. So quite frustrating from that perspective, but let's talk TOSHI. Let's just see what is going on. Can you buy this thing? I mean, sure, I don't think so. So we saw, what were our Coinbase listings a couple of months ago? It was Bonk, it was Pepe they were talking about. There were a couple of others, and there was a lot of speculation, a whiff maybe, or one of them. And all of these memes looked like this, okay? Then ultimately, what actually happened to these meme coins? A lot of them dropped, okay? So they had their sell-off. Then a lot of them came back for a second bite, and then I believe we had a nice sell-off afterwards. So you might get an opportunity like this on TOSHI. This is obviously the weekend hype. So for me personally, I'd be super cautious buying this thing now. Obviously, other things can happen and this thing can rip, but I'd be super cautious. I would say I would lean towards some kind of short operation here on this guy. And you can see my oscillator is talking quite bearish things to me at the moment, but you can see the last time it printed a bearish oscillator, what did it do? It said, thanks very much, and carried on sending higher. So for me, caution here, okay, super caution here. If this thing pumps higher, I suspect we get a short up there at 2-0. Now, this thing will be being shorted by a lot of people at the moment, I would assume, and that should give it one more squeeze to these highs. So if you are looking for a bit of a degen play, look for that short at around 204 up to, even through that wick, 215. Somewhere in that area, you might be able to grab yourself a sneaky little short there to the downside. So TOSHI, just be careful here. Super choppy now. There'll be tons of guys doing various things to that. Now, let's talk Brett. And, look, you guys can see I've been holding this Brett position. I think it's probably since September. I actually don't even remember. August, September. I don't know. I've been sitting in Brett forever. Okay. And the one thing that only works on Brett for me since these original pumps. Okay, no, it must have been November here. It must have been here. But the one thing that works for me on Brett is the shorts at the moment. Okay, so whenever we get a nice downside move on Brett, I keep closing those shorts and I start adding a little bit to my Brett long, because obviously I'd like to see this thing at a big size at some point. And I do believe, if TOSHI can do what it did here, okay, surely they can get their act together on things like Brett as well, and we can get some kind of move. So I'm not leaving my Brett position. I have zero reason to exit that thing at the moment. And for me, it's just about bringing the average price down, adding to the size, because one day we're going to get that move, okay? And even if it's a 40 or 50%, it's going to be a big one, okay? And it's going to be worth all the pain and suffering for me. So right now, levels you want to pay attention to. Where's my banger zone on Brett? What is my game plan? So you can see if we really play the trend game, okay? Here's a trend, okay? So if we play this game, we can actually say this is a little bit bearish until we get our next big dip. So worst case for me at the moment on Brett, we're looking at something along these lines, okay? That could be playing out for us before we get the big monster size move. Don't really want to go there, okay? That's around about 60 at the moment for Brett. So don't want to go to those depths of hell, but if we need to, we might have to. And that is what I'm playing at the moment. So where can I get a banger long on Brett? Well, let's take a look at what our oscillators are telling us. That 12 hour is turning a little bit bullish. Let's see our daily. Okay, daily showing signs of a reversal. So that is looking a little bit better. And so what you want to do then is use this low, okay, as your support. That 0.082, that is going to be your support. If you do want to play this game, you can see we do have a lot of upside here at the moment on Brett. There's a couple of easy targets for you. That trend at 94. Let's see the size of that. So you got 9% to the 94. Then you've got 16 to the bottom of that wick. And then look at our 200-day. That's 31%. So that could be a nice move as well. So I do expect at some point we get a 30% move on Brett. You can see we've had it before on this downtrend. Look at that one. We had a 40% over there. What did we have here? We had a 30% there. So I'm expecting another 30% at some point. So for me, it's either going to be off this 0.83 or it's going to be off the 0.074 is what you're going to be watching. That is what I'm looking at the moment. Hassan, yeah, memes are rinsing everybody. They all ran to AI agents, and I suspect the AI agents will start rinsing them as well. Okay, so Brett, guys, that is the game plan there on Brett. Watch your main supports there. You've got your support levels. Then update on Goku as well. This thing's been an absolute banger, and you can see they've got an AI agent now. They're officially opening a $5,000 content competition. Okay, so they're throwing money away, basically doing riddles, doing all these things at the moment, and that explains why this thing has actually been holding so well in quite relatively bearish conditions for meme coins. So this thing keeps churning. I mean, every time I talk about this thing, it keeps grinding higher, and it's cracked through the all-time high. Where were we on the 22nd? So it was last week. We were looking at all-time high. It's now smashed the all-time high. So what comes next? Well, it remains to be seen, but there's some big targets to the upside. But guys, watch this thing, okay? Keep this thing on your watch list. You want to buy this thing on weakness. Look how this thing recovers every time. Look at these red candles, bought up, red candles, bought up, red candles, bought up. So definitely something you want to buy on weakness. Little pump there could be something for you guys. And Mongo Sniper says, accelerate them likes, guys. Yes, accelerate the likes. Remember, my masterclass is tomorrow for the accelerator course, and there's another one the following week as well. So make sure you guys are signed up. Guys, I'm going to end it here. I did have a couple of more tokens for you guys, but I'm going to cut. Hackers, we've got our live session starting in 23 minutes on Zoom for the hackers community. So we'll see you now, and we're going to tee up the week. We're going to tee up, and we're going to talk about some of the tokens that I've covered today. We're going to add some more for you guys. So James, thanks for joining. Have fun today.
Wow.
He's got a birthday party to go to. Okay, guys, I'll see you Banter Plus tomorrow on my regular time slot. It was good to see you on the main channel. Catch you guys later.